believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to and what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan, your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour, take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder, work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just young downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought. I
can tell you that 7 years after Freddie Gray, that was 2015, spring, April, May. This is 2022. Communities like Sandtown, all we saw then and now in terms of investment was a renovated Western District Police Station and a new funeral home. That's what West Baltimore got. A new police station and a new funeral home. What kind of optics are they? Was Freddie Gray any different than 1968 Baltimore riots? Dr. King's passing, killing, murder? Is it the same?
No, it wasn't. I mean, I think, well, first of all, people who are being violent and burning, that's, you know, all that's the same. But the point is what was the cause and what were they attempting to register?
I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns.
I love you.
They deserve an ounce. It's got next. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I swear to God they don't let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns.
First name's Donnie, last name's Glover. In it to win it for the long haul, baby. We are here. It's 2023, and we might as well start it off right. Sean Stinnett, good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Can you bless us with prayer, man?
Oh, I'm not good with prayer, brother. You know, now let me. I thought you were gonna have the sister that does the prayer on your shows and stuff like that. I'm very not good as far as doing a prayer. You put me on the spot when it comes to that.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
Alhamdulillah rahim alaikum madin. Making I'm not doing this staqeen.
Yeah, can I boudoir? Yeah, can I Dina Surat al Mustaqim, Surat al Atina, Nam Tailihim, Gaidal Makdubi Alahim.
What do all mean? I mean.
What did we just say for those who don't know?
Yeah, that's the Muslim prayer. That's the Muslim prayer that we do on a daily, well, really 5 times a day, during our salat, which is an Arabic word for prayer.
We're gonna give them the English translation.
Oh, I have to have it in front of me, brother. And you really put me on the spot.
You knew we were gonna do something.
You got my mind focused on one thing, you take me to another.
In the name of God, the beneficent, the merciful, right?
Yes.
Thee do we worship, thine aid do we seek. And I'm just going off of memory.
Right.
Guide us in the path of those who have incurred thy favor, not the path of those who have gone astray, essentially.
Yes.
For me. And amen.
Amen.
I mean, amen. You know, there's so many similarities. And it's all one big story. It's all one continual story, from the Jewish Hebrew to the Christian, and then the final word, which is al-Islam.
Yes.
But they're all children of Abraham, right?
Yes, sir.
A lot of us don't know that. Oh, you're a Muslim. Oh, you're a Christian. You know.
Yeah. That's
Have
why
a
it's
wonderful,
very important that we all work together and we all just come together. So, inshallah, in due time.
a very beautiful religion,
Yes, it is. Yes, it
a
is.
very beautiful faith. Have you ever been to Mecca?
No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I haven't had the honor, but I would say hopefully in due time, inshallah. But that would definitely partake in that pilgrimage.
If possible, every Muslim, and a Muslim is one who submits to the will of God,
Right. Yeah,
they are
that's
to make the pilgrimage to Mecca.
right. Exactly. Yeah. If you can, afford it, that's one of the 5 pillars in Islam to actually take the pilgrimage to Mecca.
We
Yes, sir.
lost a friend. We have to acknowledge the friend
Yeah.
who is transitioned,
Yeah.
and that's a big part of the day. I'm sure we you want to talk about business and the things you have going on with Baltimore Main Streets and the business development. We can summarize some of the things we did over the last year, including the mayor's tour of the Image Center. I was, very,
Yes.
very warmed to see our mayor come to this $3 million manufacturing facility
Mm.
that took both Democrats and Republicans to produce, and private industry as well. When you think of Under Armour, Port
Mm.
Covington, Kevin Plank, Alicia Wilson,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
Malik Rock.
Phenomenal. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. This is a great start when you talk about a very special individual that was not only special to you, myself, to a lot of people, a lot of great people that if it wasn't for Malik Rahman, there will be, there wouldn't be a, Kurt Smoke, there wouldn't be, you know, um, Jill Carter, there wouldn't be, as far as doing the Ehrlich campaign, Robert Ehrlich, he was very significant. And we're not saying, something, a very minor role. We're talking about some true significance. That he played. He played his part. He played his part very well. Like I mentioned to you before, just going to the janaza a couple of weeks ago, which janaza is the term of a funeral in the Islamic sense of the word. It was like just listening to him talk about, give me his stories. It's like when I walked in there and saw all the people and people giving reflections on what he meant to them, it's like I just opened up a book and went to chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. You know what I mean? Which was very rewarding, and it put a smile on my heart as far as that he was able to, share a piece of him to me, because I know you and a lot of other people, you guys, you know him much longer than me. But I think in the past, 12 to 13 years that I've known him, that was very, very significant. I think that, through our, path, we knew each other, of course, and, initially in the work capacity at Maryland Department of General Services. And I think, Senator Joan Carter Conway for making that happen. And then just in general, just, everybody who had really appreciated him, because he was definitely one of a kind. He was definitely a true soldier. And it's like, a man's man, pretty much a man's man. You can't get nothing better than him, brother. Because, I mean, when you had Larry Gibson, you had his cousin Charles Rock Dutton here. When you had Sharon Pender, when you had Mayor Catherine Pugh, you had a whole lot. And then, of course, our Greek family that he brought me to, Stelios, the Black Olive, and Demetrius and his family and everything.
So
So it's
you didn't meet his Chinese connects.
no, I met some at Northeast Market. You know what I mean? At but I haven't met all of them.
Well, during the Ehrlich administration, Malik went to China, and I forget the guy's name, but he had the big restaurant down there behind Stouffer's. So that would be Lombard Street, right there on the corner of Lombard and South.
Okay.
It's a big old building. And back then, a Chinese guy owned it, and we did a lot of events in there. I wouldn't dare mess up I couldn't even remember his name, but he went to China. Malik Rahman was in China.
Right.
He was world famous, baby.
Yeah.
Had a pleasant smile. He had a smile that could melt butter. You could be mad. You could have an attitude. You could be uptight. And he could read a situation instantaneously.
Yes. Yes.
He G-checked me. Let me just put it out there. I done been G-checked by the Rock.
Right.
Yeah, no problem G-checking you.
No.
And how you going? What you gonna say to Malik Rahman?
Yeah.
How you gonna come back? You like
right. You gotta take the hit. You know, when he tells you that you're wrong, it's like, you know, I didn't want to. Of course, you challenge when you know if you are right. You take that challenge, but you got to be right. But if you're not right, you got to take the hit.
We're talking last night about being confident versus being arrogant.
Right.
And you better be confident, because if you slip up and become arrogant, that's when he like, really.
Right. See, your dog has a few things to say about Malik as well, but
well, how about that? I never even thought about that. Well, actually, I thought he was working on security.
Right.
It is the first weekday of the year, and possibly some type of trade business might be underway or attempting to be underway. Let's speak about communities. Given the work that you do in communities, Park Heights, Liberty Heights, and what's the name of it? You know, I always forget it. Your community?
West Arlington.
West Arlington.
Yes.
A beautiful community. Some of the nicest homes. I was looking at some of the new homes alongside Wabash, going towards the old Kmart, going towards Northern Parkway.
Right, Northwest Plaza.
Just some beautiful homes, a great neighborhood, a great community. There are always people who won't do right, but a lot of homeowners.
Yes.
Can you tell me about homeowners in Baltimore?
Well,
in the sense of why we need more. Me, myself, I'd much rather live next door to a homeowner.
Yeah.
Personally. I can live next door to a renter, but we're going to have to establish some ground rules. Like, you can't throw chicken bones out your front door. You got to pick up your trash. You got to help out in the neighborhood. You know, we're in a day and time where we need to get back to basics. We need to know our neighbor's name. I was talking to a lady who lives up around Wabash, and she was telling me how, and it's a very tight-knit community, Cedardale. Okay. And she was talking about how when new people come into the neighborhood, she wants to know who they are. When anybody comes through, and not being nosy, but being aware. I think there's a difference being nosy and being aware, but you got to be aware. You got to know what's going on around you. Some people go in their house and they just close the door, and that's it.
Right. Well, I think it's important. I think it's twofold, because I think sometimes we've gotten to the point of just today's society, we never know what a person is up, what are they up to? Sometimes if you may get that good and friendly neighbor that's coming in and saying, they're speaking, they want to be a part of the community, they want to be a part of your community association, they want to do everything that they feel that they need to do in order to make where they're going to be living for the next whatever amount of years comfortable. So I think that it's to the point of knowing exactly what your I guess sort of your agenda or your mission or so forth, as far as to realize that, hey, I want to make sure that I do my part as far as to make this community, successful, this community, thrive and so forth. Um, but I think it's twofold when it comes to, you have a lot of people that's renters as well as homeowners. I think that you don't really, we there's people that comes in to own a home sometimes really doesn't have the tools or the knowledge in order to, you know, um, maintain your home, doing your part as far as not just within inside of your house, but outside of your house, keeping your front clean, keeping, if it snows, keeping, make sure that in a timely manner that the snow is removed. So, people can, either the postman or whomever can, move, navigate back and forth and so forth. So it's a little bit of both that happens in terms of, as far as, you know, uh, um, keeping your area clean and maintaining that good, healthy upkeep.
I love Northwest Baltimore,
Same here.
but a lot of people are moving now to Northeast Baltimore. How is it that Northeast Baltimore has become so attractive to so many Black people? It's like there's a mass immigration, a mass exodus to Northeast Baltimore, right around Collins.
Well, one of the things that I think that, and I'm hoping that at least I can, sort of do my part in that, we have a number of, in terms of Baltimore main streets, we have a few main streets that in Northeast Baltimore that, you have, where you have a commercial corridor that's sort of embedded into a community, like Bel Air Edison or Hamilton Laurelville, where you can just walk outside your home, and within a 1 mile radius, you can get all the daily essentials that you need for yourself or for your home, and also even have a evening night out, either with you and your partner or you and your family. So it's all there. It's, looking at Northwest Baltimore, I think in due time it's coming. I think especially with, we're actually in preparation as far as to bring the Main Street program over to the Park Heights community, because you have a thriving commercial corridor, especially when you think about, as far as, the future development of the Plimlico racetrack and so forth. I think now you're starting to really bring in, those particular projects to really enhance what you already have, but really, enhance even more what you can provide, to really make the community more healthier and more livable, so to speak, as far as bringing all of those types of services and essentials and, businesses and so forth, so you could accommodate, the people within those communities.
Northwest Baltimore has become the hub of the Caribbean community.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think the first Jamaican restaurant I fell in love with was Royal Maroon. Right there, it was on Belvedere.
Yep.
Then they had a fire, and they ended up shifting up to Blue Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Tasty Food. I don't know if Tasty is there. I know the building is still there. That was a Trini restaurant. Max's reopened up on Rogers.
Right.
Max's has the best jerk chicken. Be More News approved.
Yes, it does, and I definitely approve it as well. But a couple of it, even Judy's Island Cuisine. There's a number of great, Caribbean restaurants that's up and down the corridor of Park Heights or even Ricestown Road.
So let me just say, and I've always wondered, when the Preakness comes, do we take care of those businesses like we should?
I would say last year, I think it was a good step towards something positive in that direction, which you're speaking of. I know Michael Eugene Johnson, Park Heights Renaissance, and so forth. They did an event to include those businesses and those, individuals from that community to be more engaged into that event. And I really feel that we're going to be more inclusive, especially once we bring in preparation, bringing the Main Street program there, as well as to make sure that when that event happens, and along with any other events that takes place, but we know that that's the most like the biggest event that happens in that particular one community, that we make sure that we include and engage in those businesses that is around within hundreds of feet of the racetrack, to make sure that it's included. And that's the goal, to make sure that everybody's a part of that process and everybody is, capitalizing on that particular event, because that's big money. And especially when you have businesses that does great quality service, within Baltimore City and within their own community. So we have to make sure that we allow them to be a part of that process.
Last year was unprecedented. So big ups to the city of Baltimore, to the mayor for facilitating Michael Eugene Johnson.
Yes, that's correct.
I thought that was a great thing.
Yep.
Especially, this is 2022, well, 2023 now, but that was the first time anything like that had ever happened that I know of around the Preakness, because you got all of these white folks and horse racing lovers. There's a lot of white folk out there on Preakness. I mean, it's an international event, but I saw this year, I saw the street festival, and I saw for the first time, I remember the pictures from the Mosbys. I saw for the first time, I saw more so than ever before, Black people in the infield, sipping black-eyed Susans with the straw hats, wearing a seersucker. We were flossing at the Preakness.
Right.
Have you ever seen that before?
No, not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
We got to be flossing with them Caribbean businesses.
Yes.
Before we go flossing, we have to ensure that those businesses that hold down Park Heights throughout the year are taken care of. I've seen in years past, no parking on Park Heights.
Mm-hmm.
No parking on Belvedere. And that bothers me.
Yeah.
How do you, it's like I'm stiff-arming you. No. You stiff-arming me? We hold this thing down. This is the one event. I'm glad the mayor, Michael Eugene Johnson, and others have brought attention. But those businesses deserve to be treated like royalty.
Mm-hmm.
You held it down for me. You held it down for me for 364 days. And the one day that's like Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa,
Right.
I'm saying, no, you can't eat the day. Where they do that at?
Right. No, but it's changing. It's going to get better on a yearly basis. And you're right. The good thing about it, the mayor knows the value of these businesses across the board.
This is a community claim.
Right. Yeah. And this is the community that he's claiming. This is the community that he's from. This is why, he gave me the opportunity to say, hey, I want you to come in and lead this Baltimore Main Street program, as well as I want to see it in my old neighborhood, in my neighborhood that I grew up in. And the good thing about, as far as with that, I can say that once I came in, I got an understanding that I had to bring in and to make sure that I had a significant partnership with the city agencies. We have to sort of redirect certain services or redirect certain things that are up, just like how you mentioned that some areas that where you think that, okay, there's a big event, but then if there's no parking or no this or no that, we have to sort of redirect those things and say, yeah, no, we need to provide this service or be able to, lift, this area. It's just the same as, I've seen, in my other Main Street areas like Pennsylvania Avenue, that where you have, of course, there's one every Friday, you have Juma prayer. And then around Masjid al-Haq, which is on the edge of Pennsylvania Avenue Main Street, there's signs that says no parking, because of street sweeping on Friday. And of course, when I saw that, I immediately called up Councilman Eric Costello, and we had to straighten that out, which he was very forthcoming as far as assisting myself in that community. Say, hey, we need to make this change. We need to make sure that we take away, because
Don't mess with them people on their holy day.
Right, exactly. We can't do that. So it's things like that I look at it as, some people may look at it different, but I look at it as that it's nothing necessarily just in the sense of not being educated as far as on what's going on or how certain things are being affected by one community, and just have to redirect, have to educate, whether the agency or individual, whomever, association, to say, hey, we need to correct this situation. We need to correct this, tool to make sure that we accommodate, the community, or accommodate a organization because of, a certain day that they worship or that they have in some type of event and so forth.
So I'm gonna say what you can say. This is a majority black city, and stop treating black people like we're second-class citizens. And so you, the mayor, your administration is faced with these things that have been in place for forever.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm glad that you all have the fortitude to correct these things. In Baltimore, we have a thing, for instance, called ground rent. Isn't that just the dumbest thing ever? Long before you got there, but I done paid for this house. Why are you still paying ground rent? But it happened at the very beginning where whomever accepted the deal. And so you have some seniors who could even lose their homes because they forgot about the ground rent. It's been used as a tactic to take people's property. And I'm just saying, it's an ongoing struggle, but a 63% black city, to have so many black elected officials, and now we got a black governor, black treasurer, black speaker of the House, black attorney general. It's time to correct a lot of this dumb stuff that has been like a noose around the black community's neck in a majority black city. Democrats better step up.
Right.
Not you, Sean. I'm just saying, this is the year. And if anybody working in state government, city government, federal government, if they are not about making Baltimore better, especially for black people, they need to get to stepping, because we will be popping some on come September.
Yeah, and I guess I would say that for a person like myself, and outside of, just as a person living in the city of Baltimore, I know I look at it that it's my responsibility to educate myself on, if I see something, just like how you mentioned, if it's ground rent or if it's any other thing, I need to educate myself as far as how do we get to this point? Why was it, why is it in place? And then so I can sit there and educate myself. Then I can speak intelligently to the elected official or elected official in my district to say, hey, can you amend this? What about this? Looking at it this way, as far as that can actually benefit me and my community a lot more feasible than what it is right now. And I think that's what we don't do. We have, just a lot of sideline folks that's just ready to, holler and fuss and criticize, point fingers and so forth. But we're not actually stepping back and actually educating ourselves on the process, on how do we get to this point and how it makes sense. Because that's what my thing is. There's a lot of things that I don't want to happen. However, I need to make sure it makes sense. If it makes sense, just even though if I don't like it, I still had to say, okay, it makes sense. Because it's not just about me and providing as far as what me at, this West Arlington location that I'm living in, but it has to make sense across the board within the city or within my district or my area.
Are we engaged enough? And I mean, in the black community, you do community events, you work with young people. Are we engaged enough?
No, I don't think so. I don't think we're engaged enough to the extent of being proactive instead of we continue to be reacting. I think we need to be engaged more by being more proactive with issues and concerns, or just within, just being a part of, engage with your own community association. I think that we need to really start from the very beginning and be consistent with that engagement. I think that's what's the number one thing, as far as that people just react when something affects them, something happens to them, especially in terms of like public safety. But as far as being there from the beginning and being consistent, no matter if it doesn't go your way, say your piece and keep moving on and keep working together. I've seen a lot of communities, okay, you don't agree and you don't follow what I suggest, then I'm going to go away, then I'm going to walk away from you and not deal with you, and I'm going to deal with somebody else that's outside of my community. And we need to stop that. That's where things break down. That's where it's like, we're not going to get anywhere if we don't continue to work together. And this is why I hate when I hear, when people say, well, such and such area where it's predominantly, a mixed or even white community, that they get everything or they get the special attention. I'm like, they get this special attention because even though if they don't agree, they still work together.
Organized.
They're very well organized. They communicate with each other.
So tell me, here in Sandtown, believe you me, buddy, I know the challenges in pulling together a community association. Some of us here in Sandtown act like we live in suburbia, where people tend to go home, close their door, and never come back out. If your neighborhood is challenged with vacant houses, drug dealers, you can't afford to just close your door and not go back outside until the next morning. Can you?
No, you can't. No, you can't. You got to be engaged.
Standing on my corner selling drugs.
Right. No.
I don't want somebody, I caught a man who did not match the majority demographics of my community. I was out walking my dog about 2:00 the other night, 1:00. And he parked his car in the middle of the street and urinated in the middle of the street. He was a real heavy set man, so clearly he didn't have his bottle in the car to help him out. And I know that would have been a fiasco. I was like, and that happens a lot. People from other communities who come in, and not just that, or they do dumping. There's a field and a dumpster, and we had to fence off the access to the dumpster so trucks couldn't pull up in there because of illegal dumping. That's not people in our community.
Right.
It's tough enough when you're dealing with people in your community, but then when these transients, this man with an Audi truck came through, pretty Audi truck. Now, I will give him credit because he put his trash all the way in the dumpster, but I'm taking down tag numbers. Don't come through here dropping that stuff off. Is that wrong?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's definitely wrong. Where I live, West Arlington, I live right next to Hillsdale Road, which is a major road as far as with folks coming in and out of the city from the county, or just from one side of the city to this side, dumping trash, out their windows. And, of course, we have to make sure that, we do our part as far as that to clean up their mess, whether it be in Hillsdale, whether it be in Wabash. It's just crazy. It's just ridiculous.
The audacity, Sean. I live all the way over here, but I'm gonna come all the way over there. Dude, you could have called bulk trash.
Right. Yeah.
A community association. We have Councilman John Bullock and we have the wonderful Linda Lomax. She is just on point.
Right. Who you honored not too long ago.
Yes, Miss Linda, can we get a dumpster?
Yep. Yeah. A lot of communities do not realize that you can schedule a free, and let's capitalize that, free roll off, which is a dumpster in your community at any location within your community 4 times per year, which our community does it once per quarter.
When we did get a dumpster, a person who doesn't participate in community events had the audacity to come out. They never around. They see the roll off. Hey, why is this roll off here? I'm saying we got to take ownership of our community.
Yes.
And here's something else. don't come to me. I would say I'm a block captain. I'll take that. Won't say community leader. But don't come to me. Don't just come with your problems. Come with some solutions.
Exactly. I agree.
So what you have, and this used to get me with some of the police commissioners. I'll just say some of them because it was a collective thing. Well, the people in the community need to step up. Hold up, partner. Be careful how you phrase that, because some of us have been the ones who've been holding it down anyway, holding down the work of 10, 20, 30. You can't say, oh, we need you to do more. Oh, no, pal. Everybody has to do more. Don't put all of the burden on a small group. Everybody should have a part of the responsibility.
Yeah.
Or they would say, like black men need to step up. Slow down, partner. That black man is already not just a daddy, but a stepdaddy on his block. He might be the community leader, making sure illegal activities don't. We got to be careful on some of this verbiage that we use. Some people are already doing the work of 10 and 20 people, Sean. That's my thought.
Well, yeah, and you're true. I see both sides with some truth, because I would say for myself, if I would hear that from elected official or from a commissioner or whomever of leadership, I wouldn't take it to the fence, because I know it's not directed towards me. I'm doing my part. That's the way I take it. You know what I mean? Now, I could find some other individuals that I feel that instead of the happy hours, instead of lounging on the couch, instead of playing video games 24/7, oops, sorry about that, 24/7, I hit my table. There's a lot of other services, a lot of other work that can be done that is more beneficial than actually doing something that I look at it where I say to myself, something that doesn't pay me. And I'm not even saying pay me as far as financial. I'm telling you, pay me as far as rewards, as far as me putting the resources into a business to make that business flourish, putting the resources and especially what I really feel that's more valued in quality is my personal time into kids. That's sort of more beneficial. So when I hear that, especially with the amount of work that I do in the community, let alone, for the city of Baltimore, I don't find that offense, because I know that it's not directed towards me, but it is directed towards a lot of individuals that, the truth hurts. Of course, we talk about Malik, some things that we hated for him to say, we know he was speaking true facts towards us, that we had to face the facts, said, no, sit down, shut your mouth, and then take it like a man. You know what I mean? And that's something that I think we really need to recognize, and we need to appreciate when we get that type of feedback. And that's these days we get so offensive and we're so sensitive in saying that, okay, well, you need to do this and you need to do that, to really up your community. And I say it all the time, as far as to, me being, my leader within my community, that, folks, usually when I hear majority from folks calling me up because they having this issue or that issue, and I'm like, well, you do know you can address those issues during a monthly community meeting. When you want us to do this or do that, pay your dues. Your dues are only $20. Don't tell me you can't afford that. If not, then I'll find somebody who can sponsor you. But invest in your community, knowing that this is your community. That's what we need to look at. We need to, instead of saying, okay, well, what can we build financially as far as within our community, then we don't have to necessarily at times have to worry about what grant funding that we need to try to apply for, or we need some help here or there. You know what I mean? Let's start doing things as far as investing in ourselves, investing in our community in order to do those things. But we have to be more proactive. And that's something that we don't do. We only react. Most of the people only react when something is directly affecting them.
How do we grow our business community? What do our businesses need? And I say that again from the
Mhm.
perspective that this is a 63% Black city. There are programs like the Minority Business Enterprise Program, which provides opportunities for many of us. Of course, you have to get certified on the city level. There's also certification on the state level. Is that a farce? Is that a waste of time?
No, no. And I say this, and this is another reason why, the mayor gave me an opportunity to be a part of this administration because he knew that as far as that things in that manner, that resources that the MBE, WB community utilizes as far as um, being part of the business community within Baltimore City that we needed to improve, we needed to reform. There's a lot of opportunities across the board, and we need to make sure that we do right by the business community and bring them forward to those opportunities. I think what's happening is that there's a lot of business owners that has the expertise in their type of service that they provide, but they're not educated in that logistics, that one business 101. And that's why it's been very important and very lucrative as far as in my position and as far as with Paul Taylor as our team lead, as providing those necessary resources when it comes to writing a winning business plan, or conducting a workshop in regards to cash flow, and just overall just putting together businesses, or even us establishing partnership with various financial institutions like JP Morgan Chase and Truist and other M&T Bank and so forth, as far as having those, different business one-on-one workshops. So these business owners can get the tools in order to make sure that they're able to stabilize their business and be able to grow. Because sometimes, there's yearly tax information they need to file, and a lot of businesses don't. One of the first things that I could say that Paul Taylor had taught me, as far as when you first talk to a business, just check out their information on SDAT, on the State Department Assessment and Taxation, to make sure that they're in good standing, that they've been filing their taxes on a yearly basis. And sometimes, folks don't know. It's far too many businesses out here that has, the moms and pops and the, sister brothers that does their taxes, but they're not doing to the extent of making sure that everything is filed, making sure everything is paid for, not only in a timely fashion, but covering the end on the business end, because it's totally different when it comes to just doing your own personal taxes than doing your business taxes.
So let me just jump in and say that we often talk about, for our businesses, bail, that every business needs a banker, an attorney, an insurance person, and a lawyer.
Right.
This is the beginning of the year. In the next 90 days or so, you got to pay that $300 to the state so that your business is active and not in default, forfeited. We need an accountant. Mine would be Joan Pratt, CPA, up there in Northeast Baltimore, up around Collins. But I want to get to this. Who is Paul Taylor?
Paul Taylor is the director of the mayor's office of small minority and women-owned businesses. Excuse me.
And he's former president of, I think, Ashburton,
yes,
Community Association. And Paul's been doing this kind of work. This is 2023. I met him. He's been doing it at least 30 years or so.
Yes.
What does it mean to have a Paul Taylor in Baltimore?
Let me say this. Paul always, when we have meetings, weekly meetings, Paul always get on there and says, Sean, everybody knows Sean. And I can say, yeah, a lot of people know me. However, I say, no, when I see people and they mention Paul Taylor, they mention Paul Taylor with a story. They mentioned Paul Taylor as far as with some substance in terms of what he did for their business.
He got me into the Hewlett Packard program when I first started my business. We got a laptop. This was before cell phones. We got a smartphone, real swank smartphone. The Hewlett Packard laptop, some technical assistance, and also I got from it an understanding that there are resources out here. This is when the Small Business Resource Center was down at the center of town, Baltimore,
Right.
that there are resources out there. I think Shalana Stokes was in that program. There are resources out here for you. You have to pursue them. You have to find out. You have to tackle a Paul Taylor if you see him somewhere. Get his phone number. Get his email address. Schedule time to see him. And honestly, it's like a drug addict trying to chase recovery. You have to chase these resources until you get them. There are resources out here for our businesses. And so on that note, should we put a phone number out there for anybody listening?
Yes, put a phone up. Okay. Yep, I'm sorry. I said I should have had my office information with me. Give me 1 second. I should have had all this prepared.
Well, you didn't know. You just making sure I ain't do no crazy stuff today. You said the brothers your brothers came by this morning like 5 o'clock. You Donnie Glover, you know Sean coming there today.
Yeah. I see some of my good people as far as that's in the chat. They're saying good morning to us, Nathaniel, Brian. It's always a pleasure and good seeing those good people. But one of the things that, and I'm glad you said something like that, and it's definitely making sure that these business owners have the necessarily resources, and not always financial. I think a lot of business owners think that because they get into a situation as far as, and I'll find it in a second. I'm sorry, Donnie. In a situation. Okay. All right. No problem. I should have all that memorized.
So you want me to give them the Small Business Resource Center at Druid Park Drive?
Yes, that's where we're located. That's where my office, Main Streets. That's where we're all located at 3000 Druid Park Drive. As I mentioned that, I think that, a lot of business owners, when they're having sort of a downspout and they're having some challenges as far as within their business. Yes, that's correct. Within their business, that they feel that, okay, they need to reach out to somebody from the city because they need money. And just recently, in the past few months, I've been having some one-on-one with some businesses, particularly ones in my Main Street locations, that me coming in and them explaining their issues, that they don't necessarily have a more financial issue. It's more marketing. It's more, as far as pricing, it's, maybe condensing your menu to something much smaller, being more, feasible as far as, being aware as far as what the way the economy or the way that your particular area, which is turning into, that maybe you just need to modify what you.
Can I intervene?
Sure.
People come to our community from Yemen.
Mm-hmm.
People come to our community from Afghanistan. People come to our community from Syria and Turkey. People come to our community from Vietnam. Those are the nail people. From Korea, South Korea. People come to our community from China. They succeed in business. They set up right there. They have a system. Somebody said, like in the Korean community, it's my understanding, it's almost you come in, you get in line, you contribute, and then you work your way up. You start at the bottom, and then you work your way up. We live here.
Mm-hmm.
We often get mad at other people that come here, although sometimes we calling them hey ma.
Mm-hmm.
But do we as a Black people get it about business? Because these other people, they're not the typical Indian, Chinese, Turkish. These are the merchant class, but they descend on our community. We have a business class. We have a group of us, a percentage in the 63% Black city of us who understand business. But do we understand enough of business that we are that we are more than just consumers?
Yeah,
We make
right now,
everybody rich. We make the
yeah,
liquor
yeah,
brands rich. We make the food brands rich. We make this supermarket rich. You know, some new Italian brand name, Kardashian, Battagliata, blah, blah, blah. All of the kids know it. Exorbitant prices to say that I'm down when you ain't got no damn money in the bank. We are consumers. We are super consumers. How do we get our super consuming community to understand the need to support Black businesses?
yeah. I think it starts with that we have to sort of, and I think you talked about two different things. Well, one, I think that in order to stabilize a business as well as another business, as you mentioned, that you know, folks that are coming from out of state, out of the country, you know, and establish a business here, that they have that infrastructure as far as that with their family, you know, they support. They do the necessarily, they play their lanes, or they play their roles within their lanes as far as to make sure that that business is successful. You know, I always say that, you know, when in terms of, if I know I'm talking to say a Black business owner and wants to get a contract as far as with the city or state, but can't make it to a meeting, you know, make sure you have somebody that can represent you at that meeting, because you want to make sure you sign in and get all the needed information so you can bid on that contract. Or if you're a certified MBE or WBE, then you actually can have that individual pass your card around to make sure that everybody who's in that pre-bid meeting, to make sure that they know who you are and you can provide whatever particular service that that contract calls for, and then they can be able to be that one for you to reach that MBE WBE sub goal. You know what I mean? So it's like you have to have other people in place, which a lot of other cultures, they do that well. And the second note, that for me to be, you know, I try, you know, my best, and even my family and so forth, try to make sure that we support Black businesses, but it's
You
all
always
about us.
have, Sean.
Yeah. But it's always about, as far as, I'm not going to come in. Yeah, I'm educated enough that I know what things cost. So I'm not going to say, look, you know, can you know, give me a nice little discount? Can I get half off here? Or even if something is alike, I'm all
A
make, yeah,
hookup.
yeah, a hookup. No, we can't do that. We have to stop that. And also we have to stop. And I could say years ago, I was one of those individuals. If I'm not satisfied with something, don't label it as this is all Black businesses. You know what I mean? Because I know that I could be mad at McDonald's a
And don't
thousand more
say jack.
times
And go
and
right
still
back.
go back. But then, you know,
Non-biodegradable French
yeah,
fries.
and one of the Black businesses up the street forgot my fries, and I'm like, oh, forget all Black businesses that serves, you know, takeout. That I'm
Jewish
not.
businesses can do bad. Latino businesses can do you bad. Asian businesses can do you bad. Muslim businesses can do you
Right,
bad. It's a human thing.
right,
However, in these same communities, if somebody does bad, they don't say bump all of them. They
right,
replace them with another Jewish business,
yeah,
or another Latino business, or
right.
another Greek, or another Irish. And we got to get back to that. Okay, this one didn't work out, then I know so and so. And God forbid, don't go on social media because you in your feelings.
Mhm. Right, and that's what
Come
hurts a
on.
lot of business. But also at the same time, I would say on the other side, we need to make sure, and this is what I tell a lot of businesses: no matter what type of business that you're in, no matter what type of field of career worry, the first step is communication, customer service. You know, that's the number one key. You know, customer service. You have to provide excellent customer service in order for, even if you make a mistake, that individual is going to come back. You know what I mean? Even if you provided, you know, the wrong type of service, that you're able to make it up. and knowing that you made the mistake, you have some flaws here and there that you need to make better.
We
You know
got
what I
to
mean?
have grace and mercy for our
Yeah.
own community. Amazon mess up on something, we on the phone with them, they replace it. But give your people the same consideration. And it's not that we're new to business. We just, 15% of the population in a country that hates our black skin. They love our culture, but hate our struggle.
Mhm.
And so it might not ever be easy, but we can make it easier on each other. I want to shift gears for a second. And there you go, Michelle Howard, Michelle.
Michelle, love you. Love some Michelle. She had me in tears last time that we were all together.
Did she? Michelle's contact. Tell me about, I lost my train of thought.
I'm sorry.
No, she said customer service is key.
Yeah.
Michelle was at one point working for MDOT, helping to get our MBEs, minority business enterprises. And I hate the term. I am not a minority, but I am a black man in America. Okay, Sean, here's a fundamental question. Why I gotta prove I'm black? Can't you look at me and tell I'm black? Do white people have to prove they white? And you telling me I can't get a contract because I ain't proved I'm black? Then what? Can I just go for a contract? Do I have to be an MBE? Because I'm personally insulted. Because white people don't have to prove they white. You know?
Well, I would.
Why you need ID to get ID?
I get what you're saying. It's a process. And also it depends on what type of contract that you're trying to obtain. You know, if there are certain goals as far as on a particular contract and you have a contractor that looking for MBEs, okay, we need people that to be certified. However, this doesn't stop you as far as being a prime contractor on the contract. You could be, you don't have to be an MBE, you don't have to be a WBE. But if you're a company that actually provides and can actually put themselves in the position of being a prime for that contract, then you could be it doesn't matter as far as what color or what ethnicity
So
that you're coming from.
Philosophical here for a minute. They want me to be MBE certified so that the state can put me in their numbers, saying that they've given business to a minority. But Sean, the truth of the matter is, we get 2 to 3% of the business. So how is that? Can we keep saying, okay, I need you to go this way so that we can get credit for you, but at the end of the day, out of all of this, we getting this much?
Well, I always look at it that you have to have the right individual as far as to make sure that those opportunities where you talk about can reach you.
That's
so we
why
can
I like
increase.
Boyd Rutherford.
Yeah.
That's why I like Boyd Rutherford. That's why I like Boyd.
Right.
Because it's all this paperwork. And Sean, I'm just trying to go to the damn bank.
I understand. You know,
it's like, okay, I got to get in this rat maze and all. I'm just trying to go to the bank.
Right. But we know that sometimes you have to go through different steps that you may not want to, but you have to. That's in the regs. That's the policies. That's the SOPs, the standard operating procedures that you have to go through.
More comment. I'm a I know
no, you keep it going. You keep it going. Don't stop her.
Here she go.
Yeah. So you have to go through the
certification process. Right. The part that looks at the ethnicity. I can hear her.
Yeah. You got to go through the process. We can't just come and knock on the door and say, "Hey, here's some money, take it." We're all be in jail. So you have to go through the process. Some checks and balances in terms of as far as giving you those.
But in the state of Maryland, at the end of the day, the goal is 29%. We are nowhere near it. I'm just saying. New York, Baltimore's not unique. In New York City, blacks make up 22% of the population, almost 2 million people, but they get 2%. It's a national issue. Yeah, we get in, we fill out.
You gotta to me, like I said, you have to have the right people in place to be able to push that envelope.
Who are the right people?
Let me just give you, all I can do is just base you on my experience. when I was the PRG, which is the Procurement Review Group Administrator for the Maryland Department of General Services, and particularly there was one project that was in Cumberland, Maryland, and it was a very large equitable project, and Governor Hogan, his message is that the state of Maryland is open for business. So I don't care if you're in Baltimore and you're bidding on that contract, a piece of it as an MBE or even as a prime contractor, you got to make sure that you evaluate whatever your service can offer to put that in the bid. So when you look at my thing as far as in terms of pushing the envelope, I made sure that I was able to find the necessarily MBEs that are housed around that particular project and make sure that push it to say, hey, if this is a $19-20 million project, I need to make sure that I put a 30 or 35% MBE goal on this particular contract. That prime, whoever's awarded that project, and I can't forget about the veterans, as well as, to put the veteran participation on it, because you have, enough veterans within the state of Maryland, along with enough MBEs within a three county radius that surrounds, that Cumberland area, that you can achieve that MBE goal or that VSB, that veteran participation goal. You have enough. It's just that those businesses who are primes has to make sure that they do a significant enough amount of outreach in order to attract those businesses. That's the goal, and put the pressure on that's what they have to do. And then if they can't do it, then you have to justify, which of course we're going to check to make sure that you've done it properly. Justify, if you submit a waiver, that you actually did the significant outreach.
And we know they be lying a lot of times. Sean, it's 10:01, and I see the pot is getting a little warmer. We want to keep it civil because I'm trying to get on your good side as we go into 2023. Mm-hmm. I want you to want to come back on the show. So we have more. Not
too sure what the young lady is saying about DBE corrections, MBE, when you're dealing in terms of state and the city, as far as MBE and WBE.
So let's just put it out there. You have a federal program,
right, which is the DBE program. Right, exactly. Yes. And then you have state program, the MBE program, which everything dealing with the state minority, everybody's housed under minority. It's not separated like the city is. The city has a separate women's business enterprise goal, and then the minority business enterprise goal. In turn, and when you look at the state, everybody, women, Asian, African American, Hispanic American, and so forth, are housed under that MBE certification.
So we put the number there. There's information. This is a brand new year. No excuses. Problems have solutions. We just have to, get involved and find out who Michelle Howard is. Find out who Sean is. Find out who Paul Taylor is. We know who all of the Ravens are. Do we know who the people are at City Hall who look like us that we need to get to? And so big ups to you, Sean, for caring. You've always cared. I pray that those around you care, that they're not just there for a paycheck. Because this is 2023. And there should be no excuses. We have people in all of we have worked for, people like Malik Rahman created these opportunities for a lot of these people today who are in these jobs. A lot of them think, oh, I did it, I'm the man. No, you stand on the shoulders of people who stand on the shoulders of people who stand on the shoulders of those before them.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And when you get there, you have to hold the door open for others behind, because now we in this mindset, me, myself, and I'm good. No. I live in Owens Mills now. The hell with y'all.
Yeah, we can't survive like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
This lady got one more comment. I'm gonna give it to you, Sean. So did I do good, Sean? I am trying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You always got me nervous. My hands are always shaking. No, this is great, because one of the things I'm glad that we started off by recognizing our good brother, our beloved brother Malik, because he meant so much to a lot of people. I can't take it all myself. He gave me a small piece, and I can definitely say that just even in terms of he loved his family, he loved his friend,
Charles Dutton's
oh
cousin.
yeah, so, and Miss Tillman, did a wonderful, blessing job as far as, really taking care of him and being there for him and so forth. So it's just that, he is sorely missed. It's still, unthinkable as far as that he has
A lot of
transitioned.
people in prison.
Oh yeah,
Got a lot of
yeah,
people
yeah,
free from prison.
yep, yep.
He was an advocate, and while he had spent time in the penitentiary, he was still able to bridge the gap for many people.
Yeah, yeah.
He never
Especially.
forgot where he came from.
No,
But he was a giant.
Latrobe Projects.
And he is East Baltimore, Northern Gate. He is a reminder that our past does not have to define us. Also, that sometimes maybe God has us experience certain things so that we can be a better servant to others. Because a lot of us think it's about us.
Yeah.
I think the minute we think it's about us is the exact moment we missed the whole point of this exercise called life.
Yeah. And he wanted to make sure that he did his part, and he definitely did it very well. Like I said, it's just that
he was a sharp dresser.
Oh yeah. Oh, he laid it out. Alligator. Some gator shoes and suits.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then when he wore his tam, his black plastic tam, people thought that he was
Baltimore still wearing a tam.
Oh yeah.
You see a cat wearing a tam, you better leave him alone.
Right. People thought he was trying to be French. They were like, "No, you don't understand it. You don't understand."
We were not French.
Yeah. Nah, he definitely he carried it very well. And like I said, it was just that it pleases me. Like I just got to continue. I will continue to talk about as far as doing that janaza and just seeing the people that were there. Just reminded me of so many of the stories. Even like talking to Mayor Jack Young the other day, and he was talking about him and Malik getting that fish from Peru. You know what I mean? So it's like all the the stories that are like that, and then some other stories that he shared.
Malik like good food.
Oh yeah. And trust me, that
man, you likes good food.
The Black Olive or Sammo's.
Malik Rahman introduced me to the Black Olive and did a fundraiser for me to go to Africa.
Yeah, Africa. It was Africa, because that was one of his stories, Africa. Because he definitely made sure he let me know that, look, I was one of the person that got Donnie there. You know what I mean? So, trust me. Like I mentioned to you yesterday.
He made a phone call
Go ahead.
To Kenny Bird.
Yep.
Kenny Bird was there.
Yeah.
Malik Rahman. And a beautiful venue. Oh my, if you haven't been to the Black Olive, we're pushing black business, but also expand yourself and try some different foods. I mean, Black Olive has some of the best
lamb.
Food,
yes, lamb. You can give me the bread and some olive oil, and I'll be satisfied. And I would say that Black Olive is in Fells Point Main Street, so it's nice, family oriented, close knit, great food, great atmosphere.
Clean, very clean.
Oh, clean, yeah, and good family who runs it. Demetrius, Stelios, good family. And like I said, it's just that the food, when and now they're down to one location. They no longer have the two locations. They're in the one location now. But because they used to have two locations.
What was the second one? I know the one down was the Eden Street, Bond Street.
Was it Bond Street? Yeah, they're on that street. It was I forget the name of the other street. They were sort of in a upper level area within the same within Fells Point, but on the outer end. But they no longer have. But any rate, but yeah, great people, good food. Of course, they were devastated to hear Malik's passing as well. But yeah, we can turn this show into another show to actually just talk about the people that Malik was connected to and the people that he touched and so forth.
We have to do a part two then.
Yeah. Well, that'll be, and we have to invite Kurt Schmoke and Jack Young and Sharon Pender and Demetrius Stelios and all those good people and people from who he was incarcerated with, because they wouldn't
He
be out.
never forgot.
Yeah, exactly.
He brought a brother to one of my book signings who had been, I think he did 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So when Malik brings somebody to meet you, and he was a big fan. Oh, he loves me, John Carter Conway.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Tim, her husband, yeah. That's that was my connection through them. And then I know that I felt very special because I know that he wouldn't introduce me to some people within his network if I wasn't, what I look at it, worthy enough, if I didn't really come with some value. And that's one of the things that I appreciate, because that's something that I think that we don't really think about, that we don't need to really open ourselves up to everybody just to impress or just to be sort of put on some sort of platform. We have to really value our relationships that we have with people, especially within our family, that don't open yourselves up to everybody, because everybody doesn't have the right intentions that they should, that you may think they have. And then when you open that up, that could really, at the end of the day, really, hurt you. And, and Malik, I think, like I said,
in the refrigerator.
yes, you're exactly right. And that, now you remind me, he was always good at putting an analogy together. You know what I mean? So he was always about that had you thinking sometimes.
I never wanted to pee him off, because he's the type of dude to show up at your door. What you say?
Yeah, exactly.
And Lord forbid, you got him and Rock outside too. I got 2 books. Charles Robinson said, I don't plug them enough. Unapologetically Black. I Am Black Wall Street. What's your next event, Sean?
Really, like I said, the next thing is that we got we're working on, as far as to start the Main Street program over in the Park Heights. Working, just building, growing. The mayor has given me the opportunity to really grow this program, because one of the things you mentioned, a person's name that I really follow a lot and I respect, is Shalonda Stokes. She is phenomenal. And I watch her because what she's doing for Downtown Partnership is my goal as far as what I'm going to do with Baltimore Main Streets. And then I look at Baltimore Main Streets can be a lot bigger in terms of, as far as the program really setting the tone across the city. And I'm just glad, the mayor has given me this opportunity to really flourish in that capacity.
So for the record, the city of Baltimore is not waiting on Black people to die in Park Heights before they start rebuilding it. They are doing it now.
That's correct.
Because it seemed like a long time coming. I didn't know what was going on. Then you have advocates like Rhonda Wimbish raising all kinds of questions. But that's a fight for another day.
Don't talk about my girl. She's good people. Everybody's important in their own way. It's just that, of course, some people do it a different way. Yeah, everybody's important and they say things in their own way. And I respect that, because everything is needed. We can't be the same in how we
don't be
approach
talking about me on Facebook and then you all up in my face, because that's not gonna work. I ain't the one.
Right.
All right.
Exactly. Good brother.
Brother.
We're going to slide off Matula Barakatu.
We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, brother.
Good morning, world.
All right.